Hey, it's Frank here with 4D Honeybee, and I'm just here to install a top feeder in my number 2 hive there, the one in the middle. And the reason why I'm installing that is because that hive struggled a little bit a few weeks ago. I added a brood frame from a very strong hive beside it, and it exploded. So I added the second brood box a couple of days ago, but I didn't have any drawn out comb on the frames there. So they're going to have to work really hard in the next couple of weeks to draw out all that wax. So instead of them using up all their energy on it, I'm going to feed them, and I'm going to feed them out of this new top feeder that I have. And I don't know, I'm not too crazy about it because I'm going to end up having to pour all this syrup water. I did a 1-to-1 ratio on the syrup water. I'm going to have to pour that all right into this pine, and the pine's going to absorb some of it. And I'm hoping it won't leak, because I did have a problem with leaking with another feeder, but that was my fault. The thing that I do like about this feeder is that it's vented, right? The bees just crawl up that hole and they have access to the honey through this box that has these slits, and you can see the box is vented quite nicely. So that's what I'm looking for. And we'll just do this really quickly here, and I'll come back and see them tomorrow, make sure everything's okay. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so it's actually 2 days after I installed the top feeder on hive number 2 there, the tall one in the middle. And I'm coming back to check on it because I'm not that very confident in it. It's a new pine box that I got, and turns out the hive is not completely level. So best case scenario, the bees have been eating from it, and the lack of level has just caused it to run to the back of the box, and the bees probably can't get at it anymore. Worst case scenario, they're not getting it, they're not at it, and I think the pine will absorb a lot of the liquid. So I've got a backup feeder. I've got my old plastic feeder there, but let's have a look and see. It's a great busy day. Boy, there's lots of bee activity there, which is great to see. Hopefully they won't bug me too much. I don't have any protection. Just plan on doing a quick check of the feeder and maybe a swap out, and we'll see how she goes. Okay, so it's pretty much the worst case scenario here, whereby there is sugar water in here, but they're not touching it. You can actually see on the bottom of the wood there how it's being absorbed into the wood. And when you look in, there's absolutely no bees in there. Not only are there no bees, well, there one snuck up there for a sec, but there's none eating the sugar water. There's been some mortality. Somehow some bees have snuck in here and been drowned, but there's also a ton of ants in here, so they shouldn't be able to get in, but they are getting in somehow. So I'm going to declare this feeder a failure. I'm going to remove it and install this plastic feeder, which has worked well for me. It seals a lot better because it's plastic on plastic, I guess, but you know, you just basically set this right over the hole in the middle of the lid. The bees come up in through here. This kind of protects them, allows them to crawl down. It's also ridged here. This is ridged, so it allows the bees to get good grip, and there's much less in the way of mortality with your bees. So I'm going to swap this out, set it up, and hopefully that'll be a better situation for them. Okay, so here's the new feeder. Actually, it's an old feeder. It's new this time. I'm just going to pour in what I've got left from this syrup mixture. It's probably a good few days of food in there for them, so I'll probably check back on the weekend anyway, because I'm going to do a hive inspection on the other 2 hives. But you can see the bees have already found it, and they'll figure out where the food is and get down to it and start eating right away. So hopefully that'll help them build out this hive. I'm going to completely stay away from this type of feeder here, this box feeder. I kind of knew I shouldn't have gotten it. It's not a great way to feed your bees, so I'm going to probably convert it into a shallow box or something like that, and we'll figure it out bit by bit. Hopefully you've been able to learn something. It's Frank here at 4D Honeybee. So this is the day after, and you can see that the bees are pretty happy eating from this style feeder as opposed to the other. They've already built up some burr comb right into it, so they've got their own little ladders made up. And I think the old one here was definitely, I guess this was the new one. I tried this one this year, and it was an abject failure. So I'm sticking with this plastic one, and you just put this up top. The debris that you see in the feeder is actually from the old feeder. So You put the lid on, and I've never had an ant get in there. And then you just put on a small brood box, which would be one of your honey super brood boxes after. And you put your lid on, and you're all set. So I'm going to stick with this feeder. I'm going to let them be fed for a couple of weeks so they can draw out some wax and be a nice healthy hive again.